man, I'm living aspiration. Cutting off heads, I'm straight with decapitation.
Hey everybody, so good morning, and hope everybody's been having a good day so far. It's about the afternoon now, and I just finished up The Voice of Knowledge by Don Miguel Ruiz, and if anybody doesn't know who that is, it's the same author that wrote The Four Agreements, which a lot of us have read already, and it was another great book. And he helps out a lot with personal growth, self-help, and I wanted to talk about this book because even off the last episode that I did with my brother Reef, when we were talking about, we are storytellers and, tell your story the way you want it to be told, it all comes from this book, and I highly recommend if you guys haven't read it already. And, I just want to discuss, a little bit about the book and how it impacted me, some of the messages that he had in there, and hopefully it makes you guys want to pick up the book and, read it for yourselves. So this is where I will contain a spoiler alert if just in case somebody needs it and you don't want to hear about the book, you want to go in fresh. So I just finished it up, and it's about 225 pages, and it was a short read for me. I read it within like a week's time. But the book is called The Voice of Knowledge, and The Voice of Knowledge to Don Miguel Ruiz, if we're going to take the story of Adam and Eve, it's when we bit into the apple, we took into this programming. We took in the voice of knowledge, and it's the voice that we hear in our minds most of the time, especially when it's attacking us, right? It's trying to bring us down. And what it is that he states that, we are already born into heaven. If we look at little kids, it's why we admire kids so much. They do what they want to do, what they feel like doing, and they're always them authentically. They don't try to hide it. They're not scared of it. They just are themselves. Kids aren't depressed. Kids aren't, inflicting, these self-hatred thoughts on themselves. They're not insecure. Things like fear, guilt, shame, that all comes later from societal's programming. And how he says it is that before we are taught this programming, before we learn how to talk, because before we learn how to talk, we just feel, right? And then as we start to learn how to talk, that's when society starts to implement its programming into us, right? It's society, teachers, parents, and nobody is to blame because, that's just the way it was. You only can teach what you know. And that's what the people that were before them taught them, and that's what they know, so they pass it on down to us. But before then, we are free, and then after that, we take in this voice of knowledge. It's everything everything that people have been here know. And so from here on out, we start to fit it into societal's beliefs. This is perfection. This is how we should be. We go to school and are told this is, you are here so you can get a job and a career with these kind of, in these kind of occupations. And if you don't, you're a failure. We're all trying to be number one, all of this extra stuff, right? So now we have this image of what everybody else wants us to be, and then who we also feel like we want to be, But the difference is that we don't have to try to be ourselves. We are ourselves, and we know who we are. And so the mission throughout the book, to sum it up, because I don't want to give you guys everything, but the mission to it is to silence the voice of knowledge, right? He tells us is that this life we create, it's a story, right? There's the truth, and you can't run away from the truth. The truth is the truth. The truth is love, and we all need to live by the truth, but we're all misguided by the lies, and there's a lot of lies in our society right now. Our society can't handle the truth at this day and age, right? So there's a lot of lies out there, and the mission is to get to the truth. So even then, there's the truth, and then we all perceive the truth. So from that, because we all perceive, right? We all have a different story to tell. But all of these stories aren't real. They're just stories. And we are the storytellers. We create the story. If we don't like the story, we can change it. Right? If you don't like what you're doing now, you can change it. We can always change our story because we are the storytellers. And the story doesn't define us because we're the ones creating the story. Right? So if we're creating the story, we are not the story. So this whole image of what we've been putting out there, especially if it's not our authentic selves, is a lie. And it's a false narrative. Is that a story you want to have? You know, these are the kind of things that get brought up in the book. And obviously it's not said the same way, but it hit me hard because even though I've read a lot of books, but I like the way he articulates it and the way he puts it into perspective in this book. But, you know, even realizing a lot of the goals that I had started to get were not necessarily my own, but I adopted them. See, and it's up to us ultimately, right? If somebody puts the idea, if somebody says, hey, you know, you should be doing this, if you choose to accept it, that means you are adopting that, right, into your life, into your story. And that's what we do. You know, a lot of the goals I've had weren't necessarily a product of mine. You know, you might think it's yours, but it's all from the programming that's been happening, from somebody telling us this is what we need to do. You know, this is how we feel like how we're going to be successful because we don't want to be losers. You know how that whole story goes. But I've been getting back to just being me. And honestly, being me, you don't have to be yourself, but just getting back to when we were a child. And the only difference now is that when we're a child, right, we're innocent. So when people are giving us the program, we don't know any better at the time. So it's not our fault. But now to get back to it, it's all down to us. It's our own power, right? It's our own fault if we can't get back to that place now. So I've been taking time out just to do things that I love to do. And we all know what we love to do. We all know what we like to do. We know it already. We can feel it. You know what gives you enjoyment. It's just the fact that we hide it because we think certain people won't accept it, right? I say it all the time. I couldn't accept that, you know, I love to play video games. Because people make it seem like the worst thing in the world. But I love to play video games, for example. You know, just one simple thing like that. And I can tell you that without even having to think about it. We don't even have to think about what we want to do or what we like to do. We all know it already. What we love to do. It's just the fact that we don't choose to embrace it. We don't choose to let the main character of our story adopt that because we believe that it doesn't fit into what society wants us to do. It isn't. We don't feel like we can be successful a lot of times doing certain things that we like to do. Right? And when somebody, you know, my brother had told me a story about boy Jojo wanted to do golfing. You know, something just like that. There we go. You know, a lot of us don't want to do the things that we're doing right now, you know, especially these jobs that are mundane, like it's just boring. It's not what we want to do. We go here for 8 to 10 hours and we're just wasting our time, you know. There's no enjoyment in it. We're forcing ourselves to be there. We're letting the money decide for us. It's backwards. So with this book, it's, you know, it's just giving you the realization and then also helping you get there. There's steps to get there as well, too. But what I've been trying to do is just silent that voice. And it's been pretty silent these past couple of days, which I've been enjoying. And it's different when you have a peace of mind, you know, like outside of meditation, when you're going about your day and there's like a peace in your mind, you're not thinking about anything because you don't really need to think. You know, we continuously narrate when we don't have to. Right? When I wake up outside, I know it's a beautiful day by looking at it. I don't have to say it's a beautiful day. And when he said it, you know, it was another book I read that was the same way. But it's like we're constantly narrating when we don't have to. Hey, that's a cute dog. Like, you know it already. And that's the thing, is that we know. And another big one, because I used to push away emotions, but even he states that emotions are the only thing that are true because you can't fake what you feel. And when he said that, I really looked back and I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, he's right. Like, you can't fake what you feel at all. Because even if you say, oh, no, I'm not feeling, you can't hide that. And there's nothing wrong with feeling because it's the only truth we have. So, as somebody like me who always try to push back the emotions, no, like, I'm starting to just let it rock. Like, just let it be. It's not like the emotions define me. I'm just telling you what I feel. Doesn't mean if I feel angered at a situation, doesn't mean I'm going to be acting out of anger. Just because I feel jealous doesn't mean I'm going to act out of jealousy. It's just an emotion. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just a feeling that I have. And that's okay. It's okay. And it's okay if you talk about it too. But you don't have to go act out of the emotion because now you are being the emotion. When you are not the emotion, you are feeling the emotion. So if you're feeling, right, if you're aware that this feeling is happening, you are obviously not it. If you can observe something, you are not it. So I'm observing the emotion, so I'm separate from it. But a lot of times we get caught into the emotion and we become the emotion, right? We lose sight that we're separate from it. And just because I'm feeling it doesn't mean I have to go act out and do all of this, other stuff. So, just identifying with my emotions and just letting that guide me, because I try to let my logical mind guide everything. And that's obviously being taught to do that. But the emotions is what really needs to guide. The heart is what needs to guide, not the head. And that's a big part I've been taking a step in, is letting my heart do the talking. And I realized that a lot of the things I just don't care for as much, right? When I go into the heart, I don't care about money as much. Do I know? Obviously, I know that I need it for society, but I don't care to the lengths that I did before, where money was the primary factor. That was the primary drive of me doing things. No. If I don't like what I'm doing, then I don't care about the money aspect of it, because my enjoyment is the thing that matters at the end of the day, right? I can have, we always take for granted, and he mentions in the book, we always take for granted that we have another day, right? That we have another week, we have another year, we have another decade to do things. We push things off. No, I got 3 years to do that. No, I got 4 years to waste. When it's not true, because there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee you're going to wake up and be here tomorrow. Right? So each day has to be a day you enjoy. And that's where I've been getting to, is making sure that each day is something that I enjoy. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that leads me to the next big point of his book, is that, and then this comes from the 4 agreements too, with the don't take things personally. But it's because if you really think about it, let's take the story concept that he talks about. We're all telling our own story, so we're all artists, right? We do that with music. That's why we like podcasting right now. That's why we like doing YouTube videos, Instagram. We all have a story to tell. That's what we do. We're storytellers. We tell stories. That's what we do. So there's a main character in everybody's story, which is you. You're the main character in your own story. And there's secondary characters, and, there's all this other stuff in your story, right? But when people are talking to you, remember that they have their own story. And in their own story, there's a secondary character, which is you. And this you is according to their story. It's not who you really are. So when people want you to be a certain way, when people are trying to control you, or you're not who I thought you was, it's because don't take that personal, because they're not referring to you. They're referring to the character in their own story. Right? We all have our own perception of this reality. And this reality, right, like I said before, when he talks about, is based on, for most of us, lies. It's not even the truth. So when people are talking about quote unquote you, it's not really you. Only you really know who you are, what you are. Nobody can tell you who you are. They're not you. And because they're not you, right? There it's always going to be you, they have this perception of who their daughter is, who their father is, who their cousin is, who their friend is. We all have this ideal, which comes down to another one he talks about, which is assumptions as well too, but yeah, people don't really see who you are, and that goes for everybody. And they're not talking about you, so don't take it personal. It's just a character in their story that they're talking about, and that sometimes with what you do just doesn't fit for the character that they had in their story. And that's it. So there's no stress there, and that's a big point too. And that's what I'm getting to is like, yo, I'm not taking things personal. Like, yeah, I get it. It's your story. That's who you wanted me to be in your story, but you know, that's cool. I'm not. And I'll let you tell your story. You know, okay, it's nice to hear. That's who that guy is in your story. Nice, cool. Right? I don't identify as that guy, so there's no harm there. You know, so so when you're being, when you get to the point of just adopting of who you are, you worry less about what others think about it. And that's why I got to the point where I don't really care. Like, I don't worry, even with, Instagram and stuff like that. Before when I used to do it, it was totally different. But now when I do it, man, I post all the time. I don't care anymore. Whatever I post, I just don't care. It's just me. Like, I'm just posting stuff I want to post. And I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to think, oh, are these people going to be annoyed because I've done this, or I'm posting about this, or I'm doing... I don't care anymore, man. Like, I'm done with all of the carrying on burdens, stressing, right? Holding on to all of this dense energy, right? All that stuff is dense, man. Like, insecurity. I don't know why I always was it self-loathing, just inflicting self-harm on my... No, I'm not sitting there. And it's not even us. It's the voice, like he says, it's the voice of knowledge doing that to us, right? We don't even need people to do that to us. We do that to ourselves on a day-to-day basis. We're constantly being told negative things about ourselves, about everything, by this voice in our head. And I know it's not for everybody, so I'm not speaking to everybody, but for most of us, it's there. Just always like, oh, you're ugly. Oh, should you do that? No. Oh, they're looking at you. Oh my God, she's gonna think you're wild corny for posting. Like, it does not stop, and it's every day. So now that I've been getting to this place of peace of mind, it's like, bro, I don't even want to hear all of that. Like, I see it, but I'm not about to internalize any of that, man. Like, that stuff is heavy, and I like feeling light now. And I know that's the part where he talks about getting to in the book, but I just feel light, like a feather. I just do what I like to do, just chilling, like, it's so much better. So much better. I don't even let this voice, I'm good with just cutting things off, like just dropping them when I know something's better for me, but I just dropped it, man. Look, I just dropped it. There's no stress here. And I'm not going to make myself stress. Stress is a killer, and we all know that. Even though we all know it, doesn't mean we actually take steps to eliminate it. So that's what I would say. Just make sure you're taking time out to eliminate all that stress, eliminate all them fears, eliminate all that shame, eliminate all that guilt, eliminate all of it. Get rid of all that heaviness. Get rid of that. Things you're holding on to that, are past, it should be left in the past. Like, let's drop that. Let's become light. Let's be our own best friends. Let's just be who we are. And that's it. That's how our story is. That's why I choose my story to be. And just recommending the book to you guys again. It's The Voice of Knowledge, Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's a great book. And I read it quick, so I think a lot of you guys will like it. And if you like the Four Agreements, if you enjoyed that book, you'll definitely enjoy this one. Easy read. So that's pretty much what I had today. I just want to kind of talk about the book and just talk about some concepts in it, and what I've been doing since reading the book and just adopting it. So we'll be back again just in 20 minutes. So I'll holler at you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk later. I'm out.
Pray when it's time to ride, I never crash like Susie. Lyrics make you woozy, inspired by Juicy. The way to branch out is to kill all of these loose